What's up, guys? Can you hear me okay? Okay.
Oh, I was muted. Yep, I'm here. How's everybody?
What's
Chris,
up?
you look like you just went to school, went to class.
I'm taking other people to school, Brandon.
Oh,
Ooh.
yeah.
Boom. Way to start a Friday. Taking people to school.
Mm.
Hey, Aya, how are you, sweetie?
Hi, Brandon. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. See, I went into dad mode. I forget I'm on business calls. I treat all of our team like my kids. Sorry.
No, it's okay.
Sorry.
Hi, everyone.
Hey.
Sadala, how you
Brandon,
doing today?
Brandon, you gotta spread it around.
Hello.
She's sweetie, then
Very
Chris,
good.
sweetie.
How about you, Brandon?
I know. Chris, sweetie, James, sweetie, Sadala, sweetie.
Yay.
No, can't be
Mohammed, sweetie.
sexist.
That's right.
I
Gender
tell ya.
neutral.
That's right. That's
Sweetie
right.
is a gender neutral term.
I think so. Well, with 5 kids and 4 of them girls, sweetie and sweetheart is just a go-to. When I was coaching the girls' soccer teams, I told all the parents and all the girls, I'm like, hey, I've got 4 daughters, so sweetie just comes out a lot. Like sweetheart, sweetie. Sometimes I can't get names straight in my head, so the all generic sweetheart. If anyone's offended, I'm sorry. I'll work on it.
Good with
It
me,
helps
Brandon.
No,
Yeah.
it's great.
Yeah. Well, and I like our culture. We can very personal in our culture, which is good. Well, how's everybody doing? What's new? What's going on?
Friday. This week has absolutely flown by, and it's blowing my mind. Today's the 200th day of the year. So we've got, 165 days left of the year. Like, it's just
Crazy.
bonkers. It's bonkers how fast time is.
Yeah, I've been thinking a lot about the days are long and the years are short. Like it's and that it's true. I mean, it was something that old people said, that time flies as you get older. But I think now that I am on the older side, you got to figure I'm at least over halfway through my life. It's true. The days are long and the years go by quick. I can't believe it's middle of July this year. It's crazy. Crazy. Mr. Ritchie, good to see you, man.
Good to see you guys. How are you?
Good. It's Friday.
Couple new
as
faces
James
in here
said.
too.
Yeah.
Let's see. I've added a few more people to the group, but they just haven't shown up. So we'll see what's going on there. All right. Well, let's jump in. I am sharing screen, and we are going to got the right one. Hey, I want to talk a little bit. I know there's been a lot of talk, and we can talk about anything else you guys want, but I know there's been a lot of talk about the news feed that reaches down for everybody, and I want to encourage everybody. It is what it is. Reaches down. At one point, I was pretty consistently at 4,000 to 6,000 impressions on every post, and lately I'm down to 500 to 1,000, 1,500, and it's frustrating, I know, for everybody. But I think the encouragement is that we need to stop worrying about it or changing our game plan, and just accept it and focus on relevant one-to-one conversations. So I don't know, I think I ended up with 10 and 12 different things for us to think about. I do think about one thing that I've been reading a lot about in some of my other groups we've talked about is mixing up our content. I've been doing a lot more video, and it's good, but I think we need to keep mixing it up. Use our storytelling, use our personal insights, use video, use pictures, use copy only. Use the surveys periodically. I think or the polls. I think the polls are getting used a little too much right now, and maybe the algorithm isn't favoring them like it used to. But it's time to mix it up. Every now and then we've got to, and Aya brought this up, like we got to shake up the algorithm periodically. I'm still a huge believer in the mixture of our personal pictures because it captures other people's humanity. We can't help ourselves, but when we see a picture of people, that our human heart is drawn to it. It's just the way that we're built. It's the way that we're designed. And so mixing it, getting those in there. I know when I feel like the algorithm's off or my engagements are down, I go to family pictures with a business message. And that always seems to work and gets, that blip. You get larger engagement for it. So I think those are really important. I've been hearing more people talk about choosing 3 formats, video, picture, storytelling, or something like that, and mixing it up. So as we talked about, I can't remember which week it was, but getting our 3 topics. Yeah, there could be some subtopics within them around the business and then our humanity, and bringing humanity into all of our 3 business posts, but also having some humanity posts that are just pure humanity. Like this is what I'm like as a human being. This is what I do when I'm not working. Business has always been relational. It continues to be relational. People continue to do business with those who they know and they like and they trust. And we have this huge opportunity with LinkedIn to accelerate that, knowing us, liking us, and trusting us. And it all depends on how we show up. It depends on what we show, what we talk about, how we present ourselves. And really it all comes down to that reputation. We call it a personal brand, and that's a good word. But for me, what's right beneath personal brand is your reputation. What do people think of you? Even those that don't know you, what are their impressions of you? And we have the ability with these screens and what we produce to influence that. Are we somebody who they would like to have a beer with? Are we somebody they'd like to hang out with? When we can establish that and know that we're not for everybody, and that's okay, but there's plenty of people out there that are going to look at our person, look at our character, look at our personal brand, look at the way that we present ourselves and go, that's the person I want to work with. And we have the opportunity with our consistency in order to help establish that and create it. I haven't really said anything new, but I wanted to re-emphasize that because that is the game of LinkedIn, in my opinion. Any thoughts, comments on that? Preaching to the choir.
This has just always been something that we've always. Evolution is inevitable, right? How the platform works will always change. So this is something that we're always going to have to deal with.
Yeah, for sure. And one of the things, and I say it later in this presentation, is that I think LinkedIn is a lifestyle. It's more of a lifestyle and a way that we do business. It's like networking. Those that like to network, they make networking a priority and they learn how to do it and they put it into their daily schedule or their weekly or monthly schedule. And they have a plan and they have a system when they go to networking events. And I think we just need to approach LinkedIn the same way. We have a plan, we show up, we work the room, we talk with people, we listen to other people, we share what we know, and all of it is designed around selling. But we know that if we sell first before we build rapport and relationship, that we're going to fall on deaf ears. So I think your hand was raised first. And guys, when I go back and forth in presentation mode, sometimes I don't see the hand. So please feel free to just jump in.
No, it's okay. I just wanted to share one thing about personal posts. Okay, I believe that people will be more interested or more curious to be reading posts that are maybe odd or different, then like it's not always green on the other side. The people will be more curious to read or invest their time reading posts about something that is shocking or bad or something that is odd, like out of the norm. So I feel these posts, they people engage on these kinds of posts more than if you show them something like you're having fun or you're on a trip or it's a gathering or all of that. So when something is different than the norm, then that's like people. So I don't know if like you guys agree on that or not, but like I believe that everyone loves gossips in like these kind of posts. So I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. Good point. Very good point. Chris, what's up?
Yeah, just general, I guess, feedback on kind of how things are going. And I would certainly say you're preaching to the choir when you talk about leading with humanity first. I think I've always kind of done that, much to maybe my own detriment. I guess that's where I've been trying to find that line is I seem to I think I've gotten better at it, but finding ways to kind of tell that business story, utilizing the personalized pictures and so forth, um, has always kind of been how I kind of wanted to come to market. But I have often felt like I'm not really bringing enough business substance to the table. So my kind of mantra has always really been like I want to be that relatable, whether it's fun loving or whatever, but easy to kind of get along with, guy. And if you happen to do trade shows, then, maybe I'm a good fit for you type of thing.
Mhm.
So it's, where's that line? Where's that, where's that mix, right? Where you're delivering enough business substance and interesting information and kind of, catching people, and informing them and educating them. So anyways,
Yeah.
just it's general commentary. It's very much in line with what you're saying. I guess the only thing I wanted to
Why?
kind of add to that was like I I I wish I had more data, right, that backed up like what I'm doing is actually working. And I don't. Maybe that's it, right? It's like I don't know that the strategy that I've chosen with kind of being that easy to relate to guy who hopefully knows what he's talking about. Um, I've got some good things to show for it, but I wish I had more. And I guess that's just human nature.
Yeah, why do you think that your approach has been detrimental to the business side?
Probably a bad word, bad choice of words. Not detrimental, but I feel like uh, maybe people look at me like I'm a bit of a lightweight because I'm not delivering enough business acumen. I guess again, that's maybe
Mhm,
me with just some self doubt, going like, well,
mhm,
if I was delivering more, value from a business standpoint, maybe I'd have better results to show for it. And again,
mhm.
I've got my fair share of stories where people have showed up and said, "I feel like I know you." Like, then they literally rattle off like two or three things from recent posts within the last couple of weeks. So I know they're paying attention. So I
Mhm.
know that works. I guess it's just kind of like I wish I I wish I had more examples like that.
Yeah, yeah, that's fair. What does anyone else think about that? I have a few more questions there, but
I mean,
yeah.
Chris, I felt the same thing i- i- in the past. The thing that I keep on coming back to personally is, um, I mean, there's always going to be the self doubt, but eventually, I mean, you just have to be convinced that, I mean, online is the way to go. Relationships, building relationships online. I mean, that is the world that we live in. That's the direction that everything's going. So even if I'm not getting the revenue results that I want to see right now, I still believe that the effort and just being relevant and being there, um, that's over half the battle. So driving the revenue after the fact, um,
Mm.
I mean, we can still work on that, but I mean, I can totally relate with what you're saying, Chris, and I've felt the same way.
Yeah.
But
No, I appreciate that, James. And I feel like we're probably all in the same boat to some extent, right?
Yeah.
And maybe this is another question to ask, or a different way to frame it is, we've all built up, kind of followerships, right? Which has been great. There's plenty of people who are kind of banging the drum and amplifying our voice. And I know that I'm way more consistent of a poster than certainly I used to be. And I think certainly than most of the people that I'm connected with, but I feel like it's the same people in my feed all the time. So I guess that's maybe another question to ask is like, how do we expand that reach where we're getting maybe new people who are connecting with us, following us, and starting to comment. And maybe that's part of it is better CTA or better questions or better kind of formatting of my post, where I'm not telling stuff as much as I'm asking questions and creating engagement. Maybe that's part of it.
I think those are good observations. Anyone else want to add to that? Yeah, I think Chris, that I believe we all have a bit of a default in each one of us that we're either going to go more personal or we go more business focused. And most of the people that I attract and in this group, we tend to be more human. We tend to lean to the personal. We use our personalities and our character to build relationships, and business comes from it. And we all tend to think the grass is always greener on the other side, and think that, oh, if I was this way, that I would have more. But I would say that if you start to act the other way too much, and I'm not saying we can't add more business into what we do, but if we go too far the other end, it's going to feel disingenuous and it won't land as well. Plus, you're not really going to be attracting your type of people who probably care more about the relationship than the exact details of the outcome.
Yeah,
Is that
that's
fair?
a great point. That's super fair. And I think you're right. I mean, I've created a voice that I think feels very authentic to me, and it kind of happens. So yes, can I tweak some things, or can I do better, or can I adopt a few different maybe tweaks into the strategy that maybe have different results? But at the end of the day, I feel like what I'm saying is the real me, and I don't want to change that. I just would like to see different, better results from it. But
yeah, I think we all want more. We all want to do better, and so the tendency is to start dissecting what we're doing wrong instead of looking at what we're doing right. I think one data point that I like to look at is inbound leads and new conversations. So when I'm reaching out to people, one of the things that I found over the last 2 years, because of the consistency with my LinkedIn presence, is that when I'm sending messages to people or making calls to people, I get more people willing and wanting to talk to me. That's a great data point, but we lose sight of that data point in the midst of the daily. Like, we're looking for the easy ones. We're always looking for the silver bullet. We're looking for the gimmies that come up. But I think, look back, it's like anything else around mindset. Pause every now and then and think through, like, hey, what has happened in the last 6 months to a year from your LinkedIn activity? Remember, I know the lead that you got that you converted into a $100,000 deal. The woman that reached out to you and said, hey, Chris, I've been loving your content. And you were like, I didn't even know you were paying attention to my content,
Right.
and you got a deal out of it. And I think you said it turned into a second deal, or it's in process of turning into a second deal for you. So we got to remember our wins in the process as well. I think everything that we said is true, and there's an and in there instead of a but, right? And we want to get more activity, and I'd like to see more influence, and I'd like to see more of these inbound leads. But taking the time to remember those, and guys, I'm right there with you. I get frustrated. I'm like, man, this is a lot of effort. I wish I had more results from it. But then when the results come in, we need to celebrate those and remember those. And, where our mind goes is where our activity goes. So let's remember the wins. I got really challenged, and I won't go into too much detail, but I had a coffee meeting with somebody, a first meeting this week. It went really, really well. But he challenged me to reframe some things. He went deep quick, and you guys know me, I can go deep. And he went deep quick, and he was asking me about my personal journey. And I shared some things, and the words that I used, he said, Brandon, I think you need to reframe a few things in your life, because I see these real positive things that you've used words that were more of a negative spin. And it really, really hit me hard. I'm like, yeah, you're right. And in fact, I was, just before we went on, I was sitting here journaling a few things that I had been thinking about this week and processing that. And I think it's the same way with our outreach. It's the same way with our business building efforts. Like, if we take the time to reframe the positives and not to focus so much on the I want more. We're always going to want more. We always want more clients. We always want more business. But if we start focusing on the things that we're doing wrong, or we think we're doing wrong, our mind leads us into those things. Our subconscious starts leading those. You've heard the expression before, I'm sure, what we think about, we repeat or recreate. So the challenge, I'd say, with all that is absolutely right. And let's keep looking at the positives. Let's look at the work that we're doing and the outcomes that we're getting. So think about those inbound leads. James, think about going, I know business may not have come from it, but going to your high school reunion, and you said you felt like the prom king because everybody's going, dude, I love you're crushing it on LinkedIn. Right? All of that is laying foundation. We never know when those people are going to go, hey, we have a need, or they hear somebody and go, oh, you need to call my friend James over at Perimeter. Right? All that is foundational. All that is important. And because we don't get the immediate, shiny nickel out of it, we start to think like, what am I doing wrong? How can I do it better? So I want to encourage you guys, stay the course and pivot a little, at the same time. It is and do things that we know that we can do better. Let's start doing those better. And today's really about what are the little things that we either keep doing or we pivot a little bit in order to, and I focused on hacking the news feed. It's really not hacking the news feed as much as it's just keeping us focused on doing the right things and maybe pivot some of the actions that we're doing to get us a little bit better results.
I'm
James,
curious, Adam. Yeah. Adam, it looks like you've got a new you're at a new place now, right? Couple of months in.
I am.
How did I'm wondering what role did social networking actually play into the transition, and then maybe some of your focus over the first couple of months? Is there any connection between those two things?
That's a great question. So I guess I'll start by saying, and Brandon's not going to hear this, but social didn't have anything to do with me landing the job. It was a personal connection.
No, that's cool.
But that being said, I have gotten compliment from the people on my team about my activity and things, the way that my profile reads and the way that it presents myself. So, of course, the first thing that people are going to do when somebody joins the team, they're going to be like, oh, let's look them up on LinkedIn. Right. And so working with you guys, working with Brandon, my profile, it represents who I want it to represent. Right. Mm. And I think that's been important. The other piece of it is, as you guys know, when you do a job change, it blasts the entire ethos, and you start getting messages from people you didn't even know were following you, right? Mm-hmm. So that was good. I have not been as active yet. I've got some things. So what I'm working on right now with Skill Fusion is more back-end stuff. Trying to my title's a senior solutions architect. My role is to connect sales with what we can provide. And so I'm kind of the guy that's building out the solutions for the clients. But I'm going to be taking a lot more active of a sales role here probably in the next 4 to 6 weeks. Just because we need it. So
Yeah.
you guys will probably see my content start coming up, and a lot more things happening from my profile. So, but no, it's a good question. But I don't know. Did I answer all of them? There was like 3 of them strung together there.
Yeah, no, well, what I've heard you say, and I think I've experienced this though, is the work that we're doing online is an accelerator
Yeah,
factor, right?
100%.
And how much time would it take, any new organization that you go into, is to tell your story to each individual person? I mean, it's got to be the right place, the right time. So what we're able to do and create it, on LinkedIn, is basically building that digital image that we want people to know who we are and what we can bring to the table. And that in and of itself can create opportunities that maybe a conversation would have never been able to bring up.
Right.
So
That's a great insight, James. And I just kind of add them to what you were saying, is like, we always think about this being outward facing, right? These are messages for potential clients and prospects and so forth.
Mhm.
But how does that work with your own team, right? When you're putting all that out there, and especially when you join a new organization, all of these people can fast track the know, like, and trust, just like an outside person would, right? So that's something I hadn't really thought about. But how cool is that? That you probably got people, I don't know if you're in an office or whatever, but coming up to you, right, virtually, and being like, "Hey, tell me about Flannel Fridays," or something to that effect.
Mhm.
Where, right, to
Yeah.
James's point, like, how long would it have taken to get into that conversation without that information being out there?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And I want to emphasize that accelerator approach with this story. Yesterday, Butch set up a meeting for he and I with a potential partner of ours. And, when we first sat down, she started telling me about me. Like, my LinkedIn presence accelerated that conversation. And I believe we accomplished in an hour what may have taken 2 or 3 meetings to get to, because there was already that trust factor. She already believed that I had experience, I knew what I was doing, and believed in what Fist Pump was doing because of my personal brand and everything that she had seen. So I think that accelerator effect is something that we can't forget. In fact, I mean, we've pivoted in calling our executive program, moved away from the word influence, even though I believe that's the right word of what we do for people, but we turned it into an accelerator. Hey, this is your executive brand accelerator. This is your team brand accelerator of what we do for you. The consistency creates that credibility. It lays foundation and accelerates things. The challenge we have is that we don't hear from them. Like, people don't reach out to us and go, "Hey man, I love your stuff, and in 6 months I'm going to reach out to you." Like, wouldn't that be great? But when the inbound leads, like, I had a sales call this week with somebody. It was another early last week. And then I had the sales call, I think Wednesday evening. Got the message, direct message, said, "Hey, another one. Hey, been paying attention to your content. I think I need help. Can we talk?" And had a sales conversation with him Wednesday evening, with he and his team of 2. And, again, I don't know what'll come of it, but it came because of my online presence. So it works in our favor. We just, I think, focus on the positive, pay attention to the frustrations or the things that aren't accelerating. And I think, Chris, and I think, probably for all of us, start testing more business focused information, do it conversational. So we're different, right? We've already established this presence of who we are as a human. Start adding, and you guys are going to see, we've got a new website coming this weekend, hopefully. We've got a new focus, and my content will be a little bit more around the business side, some more calls to action, asking people like, "Hey, do you know anybody?" But it's going to be in a conversational format. Like, "Hey, here's what the evolution has been. Here's where we're at. Here's who we're serving. Who needs our help, or who do you know that needs to up their LinkedIn game, but they don't have time to do it and they're scared to make mistakes?" That's who we serve. And getting that focus. That's why, we've talked about it, months ago, but getting clarity on who we serve and what their needs are and getting our message really tight is a big component of it. And then throwing that in the mix. So let's go through this, and I'm going to move quickly. We got about 30 minutes left. I just want you to see this. This isn't all that important, but I think it's important for us to know that this is what the news feed looks like for most people. They see a post, and they get an ad, and they got more posts and then ads. And the data shows that most people are going down, about 2 or 3 sections, and then they tap out. So it's important for us to do what we can to make sure that our posts are getting seen by them, and we can control our activity. So this is where the hack the algorithm or hack the news feed has come in. How do we hack it so that our posts are getting more seen in their feed? And we're one of those posts in the midst of posts and ads and all the other messages. And LinkedIn's got to make money, so the ads are going to be there. But how do we then try to get our posts to be seen by more people? So a few things that we can do. I want to remind you, using the curated list feature. The value of that is we put people in our list that we want to engage with more often. And then when we go there and we start commenting on their activity, we're influencing the algorithm that knows that we are connected. And I think the algorithm's smart, but when we comment on their post, the algorithm sees us connected, even though we're the one going to them and doing the commenting or the liking or whatever we do. The algorithm starts to see that we are connected to that person. So be sure, keep using that, keep commenting, keep getting in front of the people who you want to influence and who you want to be seen with. I shared this the other day in a conversation. I hadn't really thought about this like top of mind lately, but it was appropriate for the conversation. So look, when we go out and we comment on the influential voices in our space, it's like going to a conference and people are busy, they're running around, they're walking down the aisles, whatever. But if they look over and they see you standing there talking to, the Elon Musk of the industry and, the Satya from Microsoft, those types of people in your industry, the authors, the speakers, the keynotes, the people that are on stage, when they see you standing around talking with them, it boosts our personal brand, it boosts our credibility. Somebody commented on my post today about, I forget exactly how she said it. She said it well. It's like, we can't neglect the value of human nature in what we do. And that human nature is when they see us hanging out with the influential people, we get some of that influence credited to us. So be sure to make sure that you're going to those posts on a regular basis and commenting. I built a very good relationship with Mark Hunter. And a lot of it started with, I went to his post and I commented all the time. And Mark doesn't post every day, but anytime Mark posts, I was in there commenting. And then, of course, inviting him into our show and, reaching out and to the point that when I was on a trip to Dallas, I said, "Hey, Mark, I'm going to be in Dallas. You want to meet for breakfast or coffee or something?" And he said, yes, right away. And now Mark is a partner of ours. Fist Bump is going to be free of charge. Well, through our partner program, our commission structure, we are going to be the sponsor of the Sales Hunter podcast for the next year. And all of that came because I first started, I want to know Mark. I like Mark. He's a big name in the space. He influences a lot of people. I kept going to his post and commenting and showing up and showing up and showing up. And he started to know me, like me, trust me, that when we sat down and had breakfast, and part of it is who Mark is, but part of it, I believe, is the activity I did and laid that foundation. He sat down and he said, "Hey, I want to help you. How can I help you?" We have that power with our actions, but we have to be strategic and consistent and believe that our actions are making a difference. And that's why I think the commenting is still our most important action that we can take, because it gets us into the view with the people who we want to be seen with. We want, we hear that saying that the 5 people you spend the most time with, you become, known based on the people you hang out with. We can do a lot of that. I think that human nature, the psychology of that is relevant even in an online world. And we can do that by controlling where we spend our time online and where we're commenting and who we're engaging with. Let me take a quick peek. I didn't see any hands up. You guys jump in anytime you want.
The one thing about that, Brandon, is what makes me feel better is controlling the controllables, right? We can control how many people we comment on, right? We can't control everything else, can't control the algorithm, but if we just focus on, carving out a time spot and then making it a goal, I'm going to need to comment on 10 people or 15 people, right, and then doing that consistently enough.
Yeah. And I think, so there's 2 things for us, for people on this call. One is if you have an assistant that's doing a lot of that for you, our job is to make sure that we keep adding the right people into the list so that they're taking us to go comment on the right ones. So be diligent with who you're putting in your list so that your assistant is commenting on the right people. They don't know, they're do their best, but they don't know exactly who you want to be or who's new that you should be engaging with. And then if you don't have an assistant, it's, being dedicated, carving out that time blocking. Cups isn't here, but we talk about time bandits, but carving out that time on your schedule so that you're adding new people, you're getting rid of people who aren't that active, and you're actively doing those comments. So one of the things that we can do too is visiting people's profiles. That's going to help the algorithm. It may help them see more of our posts as well. Again, when I talk about the algorithm sees us connected to people, it doesn't necessarily say who went where. It sees us connected. Yes, they may see that you visited their profile. My opinion is, who cares? I know a lot of people get worked up like, oh, they're going to think I'm stalking them. Well, are you going, every single week or every day or something? That might, send a little bit of a psychology on their side of going, what the heck's going on? But periodically visiting their profile, it helps you, it helps the algorithm, it helps get some of your posts seen by them more often. And look, if you're confident in the value that you're offering in your content, then who cares if they see you looking at their profile? That's my opinion on it. Hey, I got you guys minimized so I can see my presenter notes and remember all the things I wanted to talk about. So if you have a question, just kind of speak up or jump in or anything like that. Don't neglect ringing the bell. I think that, when you have some key people, 10, 15, 20 people that you really want to get to know. I mean, I did this with Mark Hunter, as the story I just shared. I rang the bell so that I got a notification popped up on my phone. It popped up in LinkedIn every time Mark posted, and I wanted to get there as quick as possible. I know that a lot of times the first couple of comments are the ones that are going to get the mind attention, and people like Mark that get, lots of comments and lots of stuff, maybe deeper in, they don't pay as much attention for it. So I like that with the bell, that when they do post, I'm getting in there as quick as possible. And I am commenting. I want to be seen. I want him to see that I care about what he's posting. I want him to see that I have an opinion and I want to contribute to his post success. But mostly I want to talk with him. I want to be conversational. And I believe that all that activity earned and accelerated that conversation that I had with Mark, because I was able to influence his lens, his perspective of me prior to asking him for a one-on-one meeting. That all makes sense?
Absolutely.
I think there's a lot of DMs right now, and I think that that's a challenge for us. But I don't think it means that we don't send DMs. We just need to be thoughtful about the DMs that we send. This is why I love the idea of having the show. What a great message to send, whether it's a DM, it's a phone call, it's an email. I honestly, guys, I try to stay out of email as much as possible. I go to phones and direct messages on LinkedIn more often because I think the email is just so busy. However, not everybody logs into LinkedIn every day either. And so when they do log in, they might have 30 direct messages and we're fighting for attention. However, I think thinking through, one, when we send them DMs, we are triggering the algorithm again, which is a bonus. But the type of message that we're sharing with them, I believe one of the things that we're really working at doing along the know, like, and trust is trying to position ourselves as a trusted advisor, the lens of seeing us as somebody who's in the know, who's connected, who, knows their stuff, and who's a human. But the DMs that we send, share links to other people's posts that might add value to them based on their role, their title, things that they may not have thought about. I do think a lot about Mark Clausen, who's a big friend of Fist Bump. He shared the story with me that he was friends with the president of Winnebago, who became the president of Winnebago. And he was talking with him one day and he's like, well, how can I help you? And he said, the president of Winnebago said, one thing you can do for me is read for me. And Mark's like, well, what do you mean? He's like, I just don't have as much time to read. And I feel like I'm not paying attention to everything that's out there, all the new information. He's like, if you could read for me and share with me what you think is important and what I should be paying attention to, that would be a huge help. Now, he had the invitation to do that. But if we're doing it well and thoughtful and from a conversational point and not from a pitch, but really trying to be a trusted advisor in our space and sharing valuable information, I believe that's where a show really helps a lot because it helps establish that we are, that person. We are doing this on a weekly or however often basis, but then also our personal brand and the messages that we share. They may not respond right away, but we don't know the effect that it's having. We don't know if they're reading it. We could put trackable links in there. I don't like that as much because it does raise a flag of like, hey, I sent you this because I want to be a value add for you, but I'm also paying attention to see if you clicked it. Because if you click it, then I'm going to hound you. I just worry about some of those lenses. But I think, avoid your sharing company posts because that just smells like sales. But when the tone is conversational, it's friendly, I'm trying to help, I thought this would be valuable for you. No other ask, like we're depositing, we're not asking, for withdrawals. Then when the time comes, maybe we do ask for the withdrawal, but we've got to put a lot of deposits in before we go and do any sort of withdrawal. Okay. Another thing that we can do to help, and this is more of our own newsfeed and paying attention, but we can save posts. If you go into any post, you click the 3 dots, you can say save this post. One, I like it because I can go to my save post and see things. I put a lot of stuff in there. Go, man, I want to create content that's similar to that. But it does, again, it connects us to people from the algorithm's perspective. And what I'm reading, what I'm hearing is that this is one of the strongest algorithm signals, at least for your own newsfeed. We have a lot of other ways that we're getting to see the content we want to get to. Fist Bump's curated list and ringing the bell and doing all that. But saving posts from people that you really want to engage with, you're going to get more of their posts into your newsfeed. And so it'll be that reminder. I still go to the newsfeed and scroll a little bit just to see, like, maybe there's something new. Maybe, there's something I should be paying attention to that isn't in my Fist Bump list that Aya's, helping me do a lot of commenting on. So I do like being able to do that. Look, it's not a panacea by any means, but I do think that it is a good way of bringing into our newsfeed more topics and more posts that are things that we want to see. And it does, help that algorithm connect us to people.
Brennan, quick question on that. Like when you save someone's post, where does that go? Like, where does that physically or virtually live?
you can go see all your saved posts. I'll come back to that. I'll send you guys, I'll throw like a quick video in there on how to go view your saved posts, but you can go see them in there. I also tend to do more now is I will get the link to that post, open it in a new tab, and then I save it as a bookmark. So I have a folder on Chrome of a bunch of posts that I like from other, LinkedIn people or things like that go, you know what, I want to write my own post that's similar to that. That gave me an idea. And I've been putting them more in the bookmarks. But when I bookmark it, it doesn't do anything to the algorithm. But yeah, I'll send that to you guys. We can unfollow irrelevant people or, creators. This will help our own news feed. Again, it's not like this huge thing, but if you go to my network and then go down to manage my network and select followers and following, I have people that I connect with, but they're not people I really care necessarily what they're going to post. So I unfollow them. And again, it is influencing the algorithm a bit, and it is controlling a bit more of my news feed, that those posts are just really never going to show up in my news feed. They're not going to make it, cloggy and give me a bunch of things that I don't want to see. So you're not disconnecting from them. They're never going to know that you don't follow them. But it does help with what we see in the news feed whenever we log in. Okay. So this is a way once you hit followers, it pops up here and you can see it's either follow, following, or you can click follow. If somebody you're following, you just click on following, it'll pop up and say, you then click unfollow, and then you're not following that person anymore. Okay.
Do you recommend to hover around a specific number of people? Like, have you thought or messed around with that and how it influences your timeline?
No, the main thing that I try to do, and I don't do it well all the time, is when I accept somebody's connection request, I try then to unfollow them, because LinkedIn will automatically have you follow people that you connect with. But I will go in sometimes, I'm not too sure. I go, I just don't care what they post. I don't mean to be rude, but I'm not going to pay attention to what they post. So I'll hit unfollow. It's just a way to kind of influence my own newsfeed. But it's something that we can do. It's part of the lifestyle of doing LinkedIn, but I don't think it's like this earth-shattering thing, like you have to do this.
Okay.
This is really just because I thought about it. It really has nothing to do with the algorithm and all that, but just that reminder. I don't think I've said it for a few months. Good practice to go in every month to 2 months and withdraw old invitations. The algorithm will see if we have, hundreds and hundreds of invitations that have just been ignored. We want to go withdraw those. So normally what I do is anything that's more than 2 months, I withdraw. I play around the 1 month. I try to give people 1 to 2 months because not everybody logs in all the time. But if we are connected, it's more of a chance of my content showing up in their news feed. But one of the things that LinkedIn does do, especially with all of the automations, is if you hit, and I don't know what the number is, it used to be like if you had around 700 to 800 invitations that were ignored, that you could get your account suspended because you're just mass spamming invitations out. So good practice to go in, every couple of months and withdraw old invitations. There are people that just chose not to connect with you or haven't logged in for a while, and it's good practice just to get rid of them. So again, go to my network, go to the grow. You have to go to grow now because they've got grow and catch up. Go to grow and then click manage, and you'll see all your outstanding invitations. I always go to the end. You can scroll down, and then there's usually multiple pages. I try to go to the very end and work backwards. And you'll see in there, it'll say how many months ago or how many weeks ago you sent it, and just go, withdraw, 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 withdraw. And, spend 15 minutes with a cup of coffee every few months and withdraw those just to keep your whole LinkedIn account clean.
Brandon, I missed something real quick. under grow and catch up, I'm looking at manage my network. And then there's one extra step that you need to do to get.
Yeah, where you went my network.
Yep.
And then you go to, wait, let me get my brain straight here. Hold on.
Looking at groups, contacts.
Yeah.
These tactical things are very helpful for me.
Yeah. If you go to,
yeah. Okay.
Go to connections.
Right.
And then, wait. I'm trying to do too much.
Okay, I got
quick.
it on, just click on my network.
Yeah,
And then it's
here
up
you
at
go.
the top.
Yeah,
grow no
and you got
pending.
invitations and then manage right here.
Okay, I have no pending.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so you've got all your sent right here.
Oh.
And I
So
like
have
to scroll down
51.
to yeah, not so bad. I mean, what did I have? 123. But sometimes I won't, I'll forget and like 3-4 months go by and I've got like 3 or 4 pages. But you see, 2 months ago, withdraw.
Yeah.
And I kind of look, what I tend to do is look and go, hey, everything in here is pretty old. Oh, I got some 5 months ago. So
Okay.
just start going through and I know like I'm just going to withdraw everybody on this page. So I do it in a fast way.
Okay. That's cool.
Just click anyone that's there. I'm going to take advantage of it while I'm here.
Never knew that.
And
cool.
If you withdraw, then you can't send an invite within 30 days. But if they haven't accepted in a couple of months, they probably aren't going to, and that's okay. How did I get, it's weird. I go 5 months to 2 months. I may have come in here and started withdrawing some and didn't go all the way to the end. But there you go.
Cool. Helpful.
So,
thank you.
You got it. I'm going to just take advantage of it. Sorry, guys, while I'm here. 1 month.
Hey, Brendan, I'm sorry, but I missed where you said, what is the time frame that we start withdrawing from?
I like to do generally around 2 months. I'm assuming that either people are they're not logging into LinkedIn or they're not going to accept my request. And so I generally give people like a 2-month window. And then I start withdrawing.
Okay.
So,
because
okay.
I've never knew that,
All right.
to be honest. But
yeah. So let me go back to that. Here's the other thing that we can do. And again, this is more around our own news feed. When you see posts that you're not interested in, you can tell LinkedIn that you're not interested in them, and that'll help get your news feed to be more focused on what you want. So if you click the 3 dots, you can go down and say, was it not interested? And just click not interested. You also have the ability down here to unfollow people too. So it's just another way to do that. If you want to start trying to clean up who you follow and who you don't. Again, guys, a lot of this influences the algorithm. Mostly it's going to influence what you see in a news feed. We created the curated post inside of Fist Bump for the reason of going, let's avoid the news feed as much as possible, because I don't want to rely on what LinkedIn sends me. I want to go to where I want to go and talk to the people I want to go to. I equate it that if I let LinkedIn choose, they're going to send me to a networking event, and it's going to be the networking event they want me to go to. I want to go to the networking event that I want to go to, so I go to specific people's posts on a regular basis. That all said, when we do log into the news feed, we can influence what we're seeing, and anything that we're doing is going to influence the algorithm as well. Okay. I'm almost done here. I know we're running out of time, but keep doing your other activities. Pick up the phone, make sure your emails are going out. My key thing there is be conversational and be direct. I got that reminder this past week on our show with Liz Wendling, and she was talking about messaging strategies. And she's saying, look, people are busy. Avoid some of the fluff Like it's our tendency is, especially those of us that are very relational, we started saying, hey, I hope you're doing well. Like she says, just get rid of that fluff. Kind of get to the focus of, hey, I'm sending it because of this. Here's the value proposition. Would you like to meet? And being very direct in those, whether it's in a DM, it's in a phone, or it's in an email, but really getting to the meat of it. My belief is this: our presence on LinkedIn, the content we're sharing, the commenting that we're doing, they're seeing us in all these places. We're establishing credibility with them. So we can, when we communicate with specific people, especially when it is a sales focused message, just focus on the message. This is what we do. This is the value that we're bringing. Would you like to meet? Get in, get out. It's an awkward motion for me. This is what Liz said that made me go, is she said, put your ego away for a little bit. Sometimes we do those fluffy things to make us feel good, but what's it like for them? What type of messages do you like to get? When we start reading, how are you doing? She said, people are like, oh, they're trying to butter me up. Like, just get to the point. She's like, and again, I think different personalities are going to receive things differently. And my personality, I tend to want to be focused first on the relationship and the business later. But she made me really think a lot about some of our messages that go out, especially my personal messages that go out, to shrink them down, get more to the point. And as she said, if you really need to, like, and she said, if your ego's involved, for me, I think it's more my personality. She's like, if you need to say, have a good weekend, or I hope you're doing well, she's like, put it at the bottom. Because people are getting so many messages now. And if it's, I hope you're doing well, they're going to start putting us into a category of, oh, here's another pitch. Oh, here's someone else that's trying to butter me up. It was interesting. It did force me to shift a little bit of the thinking of some of my messages and how they're going out. I tend to do that because of who I am and who I like to be, but I forget it's not about me. It's about them and what they're receiving and what they have time for. Almost done. Just the reminder that this LinkedIn thing, it's a lifestyle. It's like networking, in my opinion. We are either networkers at heart, and we like to connect with people. We like to show our value with people. We like to be there for people. We like to serve people. This is a lifestyle, creating content that adds value to our audience, engaging with people to build relationships first. We always have the goal of sales. I get it. We're always growing our businesses. We always need to be in sales mode. But if we lead with sales mode, we smell like sales. I like Larry's Levine's expression about, you have commission breath, and people are going to avoid you because you have commission breath. So I think that just keep doing this lifestyle of LinkedIn, sharing our content, doing the best that we can, mixing up our style, videos and graphics and personal stories, and being who we are, bringing our humanity. Keep it up. We can't control the algorithm. All we can do is what we can do. And so trust the actions that you're doing and focus on the positive. Like we talked about it earlier, but I want to make sure that we're remembering our wins, remembering the value that's coming out of this, and keep it up. Look at that. Less than a minute to spare, but we did it somewhat on time. So
yeah, no, it's a good reminder, Brandon.
Yeah, let's see. Nope, stop sharing. There we go. Cool. Hey, sure appreciate you guys. I hope that was valuable. I think more than anything, just that motivation to stay the course. It's working. It works better some weeks than others, but there's something just so exciting about getting those inbound leads. And I feel like I'm averaging about one a week right now, which is pretty cool. Those days where I'm like, honestly, like, shit, is this, how do we go faster? How do we do better? And then you get the inbound lead. It's like, okay, yeah, this is working.
Awesome. Or outbound. I've got an interesting story real quick. something kind of cool that
I
happened?
gotta hop to another meeting. So James, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'll let to catch
My
up
man.
on that story another time. So thanks, Brandon.
Hey,
Appreciate you.
congrats on the new place,
See you,
man.
Adam.
See you,
Good
Adam.
to see your face,
Thanks.
man.
Yeah, you too.
So I was talking with my buddy Cy, who I told you about. He told me about this new company called Real Experiences, REEL. And while I was on the phone with Cy, I looked the guy up on LinkedIn and I sent him a message. And he uses, it's a leadership company over in downtown Marietta. They use movies. They match your personality with movies. And then they use those experiences as team building experiences around the lessons that are in movies. Anyway, I reached out to him and that was his concern is like, what are you trying to sell me? I was like, dude, I just love your business and I would love to be connected with you. And by the way, look at my profile. I've got a podcast. I think you'd be a great guest. So he's like, well, how much, he was very, I could say, look, I get random messages all the time. So I figured I didn't have anything to lose by just reaching out to you. I get what you're going through, but so yeah, Brian Cole,
That's a good win.
Yeah.
And that's what I think, like, be conversational, be you, and doing things like, I mean, I think everybody should have a show. And not everybody will, but having a show is such a huge, easy way to reach out to people and be different.
Mm-hmm.
And lay the foundation of that relationship, knowing that you want to move it to business at some point or referrals or, gosh, everybody we know, we'd love to take advantage of their network, of course. But it gives us that way of being different than everybody else.
And the law of reciprocity, right? If we're helping, it's going to come around.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's good seeing you,
Love
dude.
you guys.
Good seeing you guys.
I gotta get in the car and drive to a meeting.
Drive safe, Brendan.
Good luck.
Thanks, guys.
You
Thanks.
too.
We'll see y'all. Bye.
Bye,
Take care,
James.
guys. Bye, Reem. See ya.
See ya.